Arcadian Vanguard presents the Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Friday, February 10th, 2023. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with WWE news. SmackDown will be coming to the United Kingdom for the go-home show the night before Money in the Bank, according to an official announcement yesterday. The June 30th episode of SmackDown is scheduled to be broadcast live from London's O2 Arena the night before Money in the Bank, also being held at the O2. The show will be aired live in the UK at 8 p.m. local time, the first time that has ever been done with SmackDown. It is not clear if the show will also be shown in the US simultaneously at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, or if Fox would broadcast the show on tape delay in its typical 8 p.m. time slot. Also yesterday, WWE recognized Gunther for becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of the 21st century, hitting 245 days and counting as champion. Gunther surpassed Shelton Benjamin, who held the title for 244 days from 2004 to 2005. Gunther first won the Intercontinental title from Ricochet on the June 10th episode of SmackDown. His current Intercontinental title reign is the sixth longest since the title was established in 1979, with the other five in order belonging to the Honky Tonk Man, Randy Savage, Greg Valentine, Mr. Perfect, and The Rock. Gunther also holds the record for the longest NXT UK Championship reign at 870 days, which is the eighth longest championship reign of any kind in WWE history. In ratings news, AEW Dynamite's viewership held steady this week, coming in at 899,000 compared to 901,000 last week, according to Showbuzz Daily. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was slightly down, falling from .31 to .30 this week, according to WrestleNomics. The .30 rating equates to 391,000 viewers. The show came in at number 5 for the week on cable TV in the key demographic, down from number 2 last week. Total viewership of Dynamite was more than 20% of the same week in 2022, and the key demo rating was down nearly 27%. In ticket sales news, here's the Wrestling News' Lou Kippelman.
Tonight's SmackDown at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut, had 99 tickets still available as of a WrestleTix report yesterday morning, with 4,875 tickets distributed out of a 4,974-seat setup. AEW drew 3,800 to the Mohegan Sun Arena for its live Rampage event there last October, while WWE drew 6,674 the last time they were in the building for SmackDown in January 2022, according to WrestlingData.com. Full capacity seating for the Mohegan Sun Arena is 10,000 seats. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kippelman.
An update on the condition of Jerry the King Lawler. Lawler is set to be released from the hospital today and return to his home in Fort Myers, Florida, according to a social media announcement from his longtime partner Lauren McBride. Once home, Lawler will begin outpatient rehab for his cognitive skills and his speech, which remains limited. McBride reported that Lawler's doctors are hopeful for a full recovery. Lawler had been in the hospital since last Monday after suffering a stroke outside his home. With some AEW news, here's the Wrestling News' Lou Kippelman.
AEW yesterday announced a new international TV deal with ESPN. The deal will bring AEW programming to television in Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands for the first time, and represents ESPN's first deal with a pro wrestling company for TV in that region. Dynamite and Rampage will air exclusively for ESPN subscribers on a weekly basis in those territories starting next Thursday, according to the announcement. Subscribers will also have access to AEW pay-per-views on delay. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kippelman.
In Impact Wrestling news, former NWA Women's Tag Team Champions Allison Kay and Marty Bell, known as the Hex, were reunited last night on Impact on Access TV for the first time in 4 months. The duo was introduced by James Mitchell and then sneak attacked Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions the Death Dolls, Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary, right after the Dolls had defeated Killer Kelly and Taylor Wilde in a non-title match.
And that is the reason I have been sent here tonight, Rosemary, to put a hex on you.
Wait a minute, look in the ring! my God! That's Allison Kay and Marty Bell, the Hex!
They're here at Impact Wrestling has dropped the Death Dolls, the Knockouts Tag Team Champions.
Kay and Bell jumping Jessica and Valkyrie from behind as Rosemary was on the ramp. Oh!
Laying waste to the Death Dolls.
Wait a minute. Kay setting up Rosemary. Marty Bell with the knee. Hex marks the spot.
The Hex was last seen as a tag team in the NWA back in November. This was their first appearance as a team in Impact. Kay once appeared in Impact as Sienna before leaving the company in 2018, and Marty Bell was last seen in Impact in 2016. In other results from last night's episode of Impact featuring matches taped January 20th in Kissimmee, Florida, Brian Myers beat Dirty Dango to qualify for the #1 Contenders Fatal 4-Way at No Surrender on February 24th. PCO beat Mahabali Shera to also qualify. Joe Hendry retained the Digital Media Championship over Matt Cardona, and Knockouts champion Mickie James and Tommy Dreamer defeated Jason Hotch and John Schuyler. After the match, James was attacked by Masha Slamovich. In independent wrestling news, 30-year veteran Christopher Daniels will be inducted into GCW's Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame on April 2nd at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles, according to an announcement yesterday. Daniels, who is currently AEW's head of talent relations, is the first name announced for the second annual class of Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame inductees. He's scheduled to be inducted by his longtime tag team partner, Frankie Kazarian. Last year's inaugural class of inductees included Tracy Smothers, Jerry Lynn, Lufisto, Homicide, Ruckus, and Dave Prazak. Turning to Japan, the women's promotion Wonder Ring Stardom announced this morning that Himeka Arita, professionally known as Himeka, would be retiring from pro wrestling. A member of the Donna Del Mondo faction, Himeka also tweeted the news, writing, quote, "I will retire from wrestling in May. 5 years into my career, I am 25 years old. I have no regrets about this. Only a few shows left. I will be big, strong, and cute. I will run through the end in my own way until the very end. Please support me until the very end." End quote. Stardom announced the singles match against her tag team partner Maika for her retirement match on April 23rd at Korakuen Hall. Before she retires, the company tweeted Himeka would like to have a hardcore match with Risa Sera, a match with Kakeru Sekiguchi, who she wrestled with in the Actress Girls promotion, as well as facing Chichiro Hashimoto of Sendai. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.